Good evening. Good evening, and welcome to freshman orientation for the Seven Rivers Christian School graduating class of 2029. It seems like a long day off, but in reality, it's not. If I haven't met you yet, my name is Scott Jackson. I'm the upper school principal. I look forward to meeting you after tonight's program. If you would, let's go before the Lord and ask His blessings on our meeting. Father, I thank you for the families that you brought here to start their high school journey at Seven Rivers. I pray that you will open their minds and their hearts and their spirit will move so that they desire to know you, to know the truths about you as they're taught in all their subjects. Father, I pray for endurance. I pray for joy in this endeavor. I pray for them as they participate in athletics, and arts, and all their academics. Just make it a great experience for them and the teachers alike. Would you help this class to gel and love one another well, and just express your love to one another. I pray for your Spirit's presence tonight. Help those who present to be clear. Help those who listen to hear what we have to say. Father, I thank you for your blessings. And as always, I thank you for the perfection of your Son, who covers our imperfection. In His name we pray. Amen. I know that we will have some trickling in. We got a lot of girls playing volleyball. We have finishing practice and coming in. So the little commotion as people from the crowd. I know that there are some parents here who have already had a student in high school. Some have already had a graduate. And there are some who this is their first time having a student in high school. If you're a first-time high school parent, it's great. They feel a little trepidation, a little anxiety, a little anxiousness. That's understandable, but we will work diligently with you and your family and your child to make this a great experience. As you go through, your child goes through the high school career, there will be many ups and downs. There will be many successes, many failures, many victories, and many defeats. And I really encourage you, parents, to be your child's biggest fan, be their biggest encourager, celebrate their successes, console them in their failures. High school is where kids not only learn the academics needed for the next level of college, but also the fortitude necessary to have success in college. So I also ask you, over the next 4 years, to learn to work hard, let them learn to earn their successes on their own, and even more importantly, when they have a failure, allow them to learn to pick themselves up, dust themselves off, and get back in the game. One of our core values is developing grit, and that's critical for your child not only during high school and college, but in life. And there's a startling statistic that says, on average, 50% of the students that start college don't graduate. That's a big percentage, and that is due to them not being gritty enough, not knowing how to face failure and come through it. We are a college preparatory school. We consider all of our students to be college bound. So everything your student does from this point on is building the resume for college acceptance, for scholarship opportunities. Everything counts. Just to expand a little bit on what I mean by college bound, our goal is to prepare every student to thrive at the college level. And that may mean at the University of Florida, it may mean at the College of Central Florida. It just depends on how God has gifted your child, how hard they're willing to work, the path that God is going to lay out for them. We also know that not all students will pursue college, and that's okay. We will still educate them in a broad liberal arts education that gives them a broad vision for their future. So our goal in high school is to prepare our students to thrive in college, not only academically, but spiritually and socially. Faculty will continually introduce your child to Jesus and share the gospel with them, both directly and through teaching God's truths in all their subjects. College acceptance today is a very competitive process. Schools are looking for strong standardized test scores and being successful. That means good grades. And this next part is important for being successful in the most rigorous course load that your school offers, that Seven Rivers offers. We have 2 levels of rigor in most of our core courses in the high school, with the exception of Spanish and Bible. There's the college prep program, and then there's the honors program. College prep classes are preparing students to thrive at most state and private colleges. It's a strong college preparatory program. If your goal is to attend one of the more prestigious research universities, University of Florida, FSU, Miami, or out-of-state universities, then your students should be taking honors level courses. They should be taking honors classes, AP classes, and then as upperclassmen avail themselves to enrollment opportunities. It's usually the pace and the depth of these honors level classes that differentiates them from our college prep courses. Again, colleges are looking for students to take the most rigorous course load our school offers, and their student can be successful. And defining success looks different for different students. For some students, working hard to earn a B is a great success. For others, only an A would be considered success. There's a fallacy that says, I'm not going to attempt an honors level course because I may not get an A and therefore it will hurt my GPA. And this is, in fact, a fallacy. First, colleges, when you apply to college and send them your transcript, they don't take the GPA that your school presents them. They take your transcript and they create their own GPA from it. They weigh different courses differently. And so they would rather see a 3.5 with lots of rigorous courses than a 3.9 where a student didn't attempt rigorous classes. And colleges have profiles for all schools, and they know the level of rigor that Seven Rivers offers. Students must qualify to take honors or AP classes. There are prerequisites you must meet to enroll. Ms. Nelson, in a moment, will go into more detail about that. Not taking honors courses your freshman year doesn't exclude you from taking honors courses your sophomore year or your junior or senior year. Okay? Our honors program is also not an honors track. If you are gifted in English and history, you can take honors in English and history classes and college prep science and math classes. Okay? So you can kind of mix and match according to how God has blessed your child. Many colleges and scholarship opportunities look not only at test scores and grades, but at extracurricular activities also. So we want our students to leave Seven Rivers with a strong liberal arts education. We believe that God wants us to be well-rounded human beings. And that means not only taking rigorous academics, but also being involved in athletics, and the arts, and clubs, and other student life activities. You only get to do high school once. Avail yourself to the opportunities that it provides. I'll talk a little bit about grades. High school grades are determined differently than middle school. It's not an average of 2 quarter grades that get you a semester grade. In fact, there are no quarter grades. You won't get a report card at the end of October. You got some of your siblings, they'll get their report card, but you won't get the report card. In high school, everything is done by the semester. Your grade is a semester accumulation of grades, plus in all your core classes, a 20% semester exam. And that's how your semester grade is determined. Parents, a good way to help hold your student accountable is through facts. If you don't have a facts account and aren't checking it regularly, I strongly encourage you to talk to Ms. Rodriguez, get your facts account set up. You can also get reports that are printed or emailed to you every week with the progress report. I think that's a great way of monitoring your high school students. In high school, for our core courses that have exams, there are what we call exam exemptions, where if you go into exam week and you've got an A for the semester, you get exempt, not take the exam. The thing is, for each course, you can only exempt one semester's exam. So if you exempt your English exam in December, you have to take your English exam in May. Okay? If you go into your English class in December with an A, you can roll the dice, hoping to have an A in May, you can take your exam, and that's what most students opt to do. A way a student graduates from high school is through the accumulation of credits. And those credits are earned by successfully completing each semester-long course, which is worth a half a credit. That's how you progress towards graduation. So it's no longer passing a grade, or failing a grade. You're not going to fail ninth grade. It's all individual courses. And the same credit is earned if you get a 60, which is a D, as if you get a 95, which is an A. Of course, we don't want 60s, we want 95s, but earning credit is how you progress towards graduation. A student's grade point average, GPA, is determined by the grades earned each of these semesters. There's a handout in your folder, but before we look at it, just want to talk about the 4-point scale. High school GPA is based on a 4-point scale where you get quality points for the grade you earn in each of your classes. If you get an A, you get 4 quality points. If you get a B, 3, a C, 2, a D, 1. If you fail a portion, you get no quality points, obviously. It's important, and so an 80 in a class is a B that earns 3 quality points. An 89 in a class is a B, it earns 3 quality points. It's important for our highest achievers to know that when we calculate GPAs for valedictorian and honorarian and salutatorian in the senior year, we don't use the 4-point scale. We use what's called a 100-point scale because it's more accurate. In a 100-point scale, that 89 is 9 points higher than that 80. So the actual grade that you earn in the class is what you use to determine class rank. And for those honors, it's only the core classes that are counted. We use the 4-point scale because it's the industry standard. When you get your fax transcript, when you get a fax report card, it'll have your GPA based on a 4-point scale. For the High School Athletic Association uses the 4-point scale. You have to have a 2.0 to participate in athletics. Scholarships and Bright Futures ask for the 4-point scale GPA, so that's why we use that. Let's look at that. Let's look at that GPA handout, if you will. I'm not sure if yours is 2 pages or if it's double-sided. Double-sided. Look at the site that says grade point average easy. Okay? Parents haven't been in school for a while, so we're going to start with the easy side and then we'll get to the actual side. Okay? Grade point average is determined by taking the sum of a student's earned quality points and dividing that sum by their credits attended. So it's a ratio of quality points to credits attended. Like I said earlier, A's with 4 quality points, B 3, on down to the math and the other quality points. There are weighted grades. If you take honors level courses, they are weighted. Okay, so if you take an honors class and you get an A, instead of getting 4 quality points, you get 4.5. If you take an AP class and you get an A, instead of getting 4 quality points, you get 5 quality points. And that's how you hear of students that have 4.3, 4.4 GPA, because they're higher than the 4.0 GPA. So here's a sample. 9th grade year, you're taking 5 classes: English, math, science, history, and PE. In the first semester in English, you get an A, you earned 1 credit, so you got 4 quality points, and you attempted a credit. In math, you got a C, you earned a credit, you got 2 quality points, and you attempted that credit. In science, you got a B, again, you earned a credit, you got 3 quality points, attempted the credit. History, a D, you earned 1 quality point. In PE, you never dressed out, and you got an F, so you earned no credit, you got 0 quality points, but you still attempted that credit. So you take the sum of all your quality points awarded, which is 10, and you divide that by the credits attempted, which is 5, and so your GPA is a 2.0. Quality points divided by the credits attempted. If you flip that over, it just says GPA actual. And really the only difference is everything in high school is done by semester. And each semester long course you successfully complete, you don't get a full credit. You get half a credit. And so if you're trying to determine your GPA manually for that semester, because you're only getting half a credit, all the quality points are cut in half. So an A is actually 2 quality points, and a B is 1.5, and a C is 1, and a D is a half. If you go through that, and this is what FACT does for you, with the same scenario and the same grades, instead of 10 quality points awarded, it's only 5. Instead of 5 credits attempted, it's 2.5. But the ratio is still the same, right? It's 5 divided by 2.5, which still gives you the 2.0 GPA. Questions on GPA? If you're in Algebra 1 last year, a high school credit class, you already have GPA. GPA is only updated at the end of the semester. There is no change in GPA because you did really well on a test or because you forgot to turn in a paper. GPA is only changed at the end of each semester with the acquisition of new grades for the classes you took. GPA is important for many reasons: college acceptance, dual enrollment eligibility, athletic eligibility. Already said, 2.0 to participate. As freshmen, all freshmen come in with a clean slate. So as you start your freshman year, all of you are athletically eligible. If you love basketball and you're in the middle of basketball season, but you don't love academics and you don't do any work this first semester, and you end the first semester with a 1.8 GPA, you're not playing the rest of the basketball season. Because when we start into the spring semester, you're no longer eligible. And you're not eligible for any athletics during that entire spring semester until the semester ends, you get your new grades, and prayerfully your GPA is back up above a 2.0. So grades are important. GPA gets much more difficult to improve as a student progresses through high school. And it's simply because of math. You have earned more credits. Where's some of my eighth grade math kids? Okay. Let's say you take a test, you didn't study very hard for it, and you got an 80. And so your next test comes out, and you study really hard, and you get 100. So you're taking a test and got an 80, and a test and got an 100. What's your average now? A 90, right? Your average is a 90. Now let's say you go through this entire class and you don't study very much and you get an 80 on the first 9 tests you take. And you say, man, I gotta pull my grade out. So you study hard and on the 10th test you get 100. Now you got 9 80s and 100. Did that 100 pull your average up to 90? No. Your average is an 82 because you have so many more grades. As you go through and accumulate credits, it makes it much more difficult to move your GPA up as you get into your junior and senior year. Freshman boys, I'm not picking on you, but it's a historical fact that boys tend to start high school slower. My advice is don't. Okay? The grades that you earn your freshman and sophomore year are critical for college acceptance. They're critical for bright futures. There's GPA requirements there. And if you go into your junior year with a 2.9, it is highly unlikely that you're going to end your high school career with a 3.5. The first 2 years are critical. Yes, sir.
Mr. Jackson, if a student is not eligible by the end of their spring semester, does that carry over to the fall or into
Yes.
the summer? Or
it depends on the specifics of the circumstance, but students, because of graduation requirements, if you fail a math class, you have to make up that credit. Right? Ms. Nelson will talk about it. You need 4 math credits to graduate. If you fail a class, you haven't earned that credit, so you've lost that credit accumulation towards graduation. And so if you failed the spring semester of geometry, you would need to make up that semester through Florida virtual or another approved means prior to the start of the fall semester. And so that can bring your GPA back up. So there are ways to do that over the summer. There really isn't any way between the fall and the spring semester because there's no time. Good question. C's, C's for some students are success. If you're a high achieving student, C's are really GPA killers. If you get a C, you need 3 A's to bring that C, which is a 2.0, up to a 3.5. So C's in your transcript aren't good for your GPA. Let me tell you how to fail a high school course. It's really simple, how to fail a high school course. Don't do and don't turn in your work. Students that complete and turn in their work don't fail their classes. Many of your classes aren't like your middle school classes. You don't have nearly as many grades. The grades that you do have are weighted more and count more. So if you have 4 essays over the semester in your English class, and that's a 40% weighted category, and you ought not to turn in one of those essays, you just dropped your grade 10%. The highest grade you could possibly get if you got 100 on everything is a 90. Do your work and turn it in. That is critical. How many of you students like the rotating AP schedule? Like it? Better than having 8 periods in a row? And so, let's say that Monday is a payday, and you get assignments on Monday. They're due on Wednesday, right? What is the sinful sloth in us say to do. Let's do that Tuesday night, right? It's not due till Wednesday. Successful 7-year students do their A-day work on an A-day and their B-day work on a B-day for a number of reasons. It's fresh in your mind. That proof that Ms. Devere is working with you on is fresh in your mind. What you learn in science is fresh in your mind. Do your A-day work that night. And one of the beauties of the rotating block schedule, and I want you to hear this, kids, is if you attempt your A-day work on the evening, that A evening, and you don't have clarity, you're not sure you're doing it right, you're not sure if your thesis statement is good, you have the next day to seek out your teacher and seek assistance. Successful students do their A-day work on A-days, their B-day work on B-days, and they utilize the resources available to them, which is primarily your teachers. Teachers love students who own their education by engaging with them. That's critical. Talking about behavioral expectations, really behavioral requirements. Every class in high school counts, because every student is building a resume and GPA important for college acceptance. Every student is building a base of knowledge and skills to help them excel on standardized tests. So you don't have the right as a student to disrupt the learning environment for your peers. Every family here is paying to have their child educated. And you don't have the right to impinge on an opportunity to learn and succeed. If your behavior in class is detrimental to the learning environment, you will be removed from class because you don't have the right to interfere with the learning of your classmates. Proverbs tells us that foolishness is bound up in the heart of the child. And you're young adults now. You're not children, so it's time to leave foolish middle school behavior behind. Attendance is critical, especially in high school, because you're on the rotating A-B schedule. Your classes are 90 minutes long. As you know, we're a direct instruction school, so when you're not there, you're missing 90 minutes of instruction. If a student in high school misses more than 9 classes, not 9 days, because you're on a rotating block, but 9 of any given class, you don't earn credit for that class. And that's really the industry standard. You have to be in class at least 80% of the time to be awarded a Carnegie unit of credit. Please don't think of the 9 absences as how many days I can miss. You don't want to miss any days. You need to be here, we need you. Lastly, and Ms. Nelson will talk about this a little bit more, just a quick note on Florida virtual school and dual enrollment credit policies. Our mission is to provide a standard biblical education. And we can't do that unless our teachers are teaching your students. Florida virtual school isn't allowed to teach the truths of the gospel in their courses. CF is not allowed to teach the truth of the scriptures in their courses. So to accomplish our mission, we need your student here engaged in our classes. Questions before I get to Ms. Nelson? Yes, sir.
Jackson, what's the best way for a high school student to make up their work or when they miss classes because they're sick?
Because they're sick. First is checking facts. Okay? The teacher should have every assignment posted in facts. Email your teacher directly, and we ask our students to do that. If your child is too ill, obviously you can email them. email your teacher directly, and when you get back, to seek out your teacher and make a plan, particularly if you're gone for multiple days. Your teacher is going to work with you, especially if you're out for 4 days with the flu. You miss 2 8 days and 2 weekends. You have a lot of work to make up. And your teachers will work with you to set up, okay, I'm going to do my math test on this day, and my history test on this day. But communicating with your teachers, and that's a student responsibility. The teachers have 80, 100 kids. They want you to be successful, but you have to be the initiator to seek out what you miss. Question others?
Hello, I'm Kaylee Nelson. I think I know most people in here had a chance to meet you in interviews and things like that. But if you don't know, I have the joy and the challenge of having a dual role in our upper school. I serve as the assistant principal and also as the academic advisor. So I get to talk to you guys all about courses and college and things like that. I have a sheet that I'll be referencing that's in your folder. It starts with the words graduation requirements at the top. I'm gonna not read it word for word to you, but just give you an overall idea. So, to graduate from Seven Rivers, we're looking for an accumulation of credits, and at Seven Rivers, we have 5 courses that we consider our core academics. That's English, Math, Science, History, and Bible. Okay, you'll see that you need at least 4 credits in each of those. So if you're a super rock star math student, maybe you were in Mr. Jackson's, where were his honor kids? Some of you right here, 2 tracks right there at hand. Okay. You guys, you still have to take math every year that you're in high school. You don't get to skip out because you started a year early, okay? You also need 2 credits in a foreign language. Here we have Spanish with Senora Eckert and Senor Gutierrez. And then beneath that is a line that says 2 credits comprised of a half credit in personal fitness. Now, how many of you are in personal fitness right now? Haha, gotcha. I know you all are because I made you take it this semester. We did that by design. So you need to earn a half credit in personal fitness as well as an additional half credit in a PE, okay? People get those confused all the time. Personal fitness is a specific course, but you also have to take another half credit of a PE. We offer athletic performance here, so you can take that as well. Then you need a half credit in personal finance, but don't you worry, you're going to get that later as an upperclassman. And then you need a half credit in a fine or performing arts. Then below that, you will see 2 additional elective credits earned either through Seven Rivers elective offerings or through dual enrollment classes. This is a great way for those of you who are looking for additional college credits before you get to college to add some of those to your transcript, okay? There's a couple notes down here about if you are enrolled in 2 non-credited or 2 credited non-PE electives, all right? What does that mean? Say you're in finding fact and fiction and chorus, or you're in art and band. Well, that fills up your 2 accredited elective blocks. If you have a passion for that, I don't want to take that away from you so that you have to enroll in athletic performance or another PE, okay? You are able to take your additional PE elective through Florida Virtual, but I want to be really clear about this. There are additional fees that apply for Florida Virtual courses, okay? It's not a Seven Rivers fee, it's a Florida Virtual fee. It's to the tune of about $375 per course per semester, so it's a choice, but if you are motivated in those things, it might be well worth it. Also, if we have students that participate in a drama production, I know there's some of you that are very dramatic out there, that will satisfy your fine performing arts credit for high school, okay? And then the same thing with athletics. If you participate in 2 seasons of high school athletics, that will suffice that additional PE credit. The thing you need to know about both of those situations, so if you you partake in drama or you do 2 seasons of a high school sport, yes, I would put it on your transcript. No, it will not help your GPA, okay? It is not calculated in, you don't receive a grade, but it will show up that you have completed that graduation requirement, all right? And I just want to challenge you guys in thinking about electives for a minute, because I know as you guys get to junior and senior year, you don't want to hang around high school. I get it. You're getting ready to move on. That's a good thing. But maybe some of you are going to go off to college and you're going to become an engineer of some sort. So your course load is going to be full of science and math classes. Or maybe you're not looking to go to college, but maybe you're going to go into the military, something like that. You may not have another chance to take an art class, to take a drama class, okay? I want to challenge your perspective on it. Take the opportunity to learn something. Expand your knowledge base, okay? We say this to you guys all the time, and we truly believe it. Learning is an act of worship. So don't just think, oh, electives are something I just have to cross off and get done. Electives are a fun way to enrich your mind and learn something new. So think about that. Moms and dads, think about that. They have to have permission from you senior year to not take any electives, but just challenge them with that. This could be the last time you could take a painting class, okay? Take it, enjoy it. All right, honors and AP coursework. So the first number there starts explaining in a lot of technical jargon how you can get into an honors or AP class. I'm just going to give you an example first because I think it makes more sense. So say in your junior year, you're going into the fall of your junior year, and you say, Miss Nelson, I really want to take chemistry honors. I'm going to work really hard. I'm going to meet the demands of this challenging class. Well, the first thing I'm going to ask you is, how did you do in your physical science honors class last semester, the spring of your sophomore year? And you're going to say, oh, you know what? I got a 90 in that class. I'm going to say, great. You are qualified to take it because you have over a 75 in your same subject previous course, okay? So you got to get over 75 if you're in honors or AP to move into the next fall's honor or AP course. Say you took college prep physical science and you say, I still really want to take chemistry honors, I can do this. Say, great, what did you get? You have to get at least an 85, okay? Those are parameters built to help guide you to make the right course selections because as Mr. Jackson said, your course selections are very important for college admissions, all right? To take advanced math though, there's an extra step, okay? You'll see the little note about AP pre-calculus. We took the time this summer to do some research on some cutoff standards for students who were passing the AP exam. And we found a very strong correlation of students who took the PSAT in their 10th grade year, that if they scored at least a 540 on the math section, their chances of passing the AP pre-calculus exam were much higher. It's not impossible, they were just higher, okay? So we look at that, and we also look at the average for the year, not just the semester of your Algebra 2 course, all right? Same thing for AP Calculus in the senior year. We're looking at your junior year PSAT scores. I want to know, did you get at least a 580 on the PSAT math in your junior year? Or were you able to score at least a 3 on the AP pre-calculus exam? All right? Those are our biggest indicators that you will be successful in those AP math courses. Again, it's not a for sure thing, but it's just a good direction to look at, all right? If you, by chance, don't meet the qualifications, but say you've already had Algebra 2, you need to take pre-calculus. If you don't meet the qualifications for AP, then you'll simply take the course at an honors level, okay? You will not take the AP exam at the end of the year, you won't get the distinction on your transcript, but you'll get the honors distinction and you'll get the credit for that level course, okay? To move course levels in the spring, you can't do that for AP. That's, if you're committed, you gotta start in the fall, but if you wanna go from college prep to honors in the spring, example, if you're in college prep bio right now, and you wanna move to the honors section, I wanna look at your first semester and see that you earned at least a 90 there, okay? There's a couple notes about how we place students from our middle school or outside schools. Really, we're just looking at your grades again and your admission exam scores, all right? Dual enrollment. So dual enrollment, I get a lot of questions about dual enrollment. I will give information to pre-qualified students in the spring of their sophomore year. So you, to be pre-qualified, must have an unweighted GPA of at least 3.0, okay? Choosing to take dual enrollment courses should be a big deal, okay? This is a college level course with college professors, all right? You are starting a college GPA. So there's a lot of great things about dual enrollment, but it needs to be taken seriously and you need to be ready for the responsibility. We have a couple things, policies about dual enrollment, because as Mr. Jackson said, we want to teach you. We want to be able to be the ones to be instructing your classes. We want to teach you. We want to teach you on a foundation that's built on truth, okay? So most of our dual enrollment courses that are taken off campus or during the fourth block will show up on your transcript, but they're not going to go into your GPA calculation, okay? Once upon a time, people were taking a million dual enrollment courses and they were ending up with like 7.0 GPAs. That's ridiculous. We're not doing that. So take the classes, get the credit, but we're going to keep our GPAs and our expectations for our students based in reality. Did you have a question? Yes.
So how do the students take the PERT class or the PERT test if they want to do that?
I will give you all the info, how to sign up, what paperwork you have to fill out, all of that to our students that are pre-qualified that spring semester. It is not just say, hey, I have the GPA, I want to do this. You do have to apply, you do have to have qualifying test scores as well, but you will get laid out instructions for all of that at that time, okay? And then if for any reason you are taking a dual enrollment course that's off of our campus, okay, that happens from time to time, you need to get it pre-approved by our administrators, okay? So that's Mr. Jackson. You need to send him an email asking to take the specific course with your compelling educational reasons so that we can know to approve it. And I'm happy to share with you guys that we do have a dual enrollment lab during the fourth block. I think currently I have about 6 upperclassmen using this option to satisfy some elective credits and to get ahead in their college credits as well, all right? Questions on dual enrollment, and this is a big one. All right, that's easy. Okay, Florida Virtual School. I know Mr. Jackson already touched on that we believe in the necessity of strong Christian classroom instruction. Therefore, we do not allow Florida Virtual courses to substitute our courses here. If a student is taking a Florida Virtual course, most of the time it is because they are making up a failed grade. So we don't really have a summer school here, so that's kind of your summer school option if you've missed something. And then if we have students come in, sometimes they take Florida Virtual to catch up to grade level, or maybe you didn't get to start in Algebra 1 as an 8th grader, but you want to make the move to get into honors math, then we can look at taking a Florida Virtual course to catch you up with your classmates. Again, they have fees, so you just gotta know that going in, okay? Both of those examples would be included in a GPA. If you fail something and take something to replace it, that's going to be factored in at that point. And then if you're taking it to catch up, that is also going to be calculated in your GPA. All right? If you're taking an extra elective through Florida Virtual because you really want to, that's wonderful. We'll print out your transcript. It is not going to calculate. All right? Questions on FLBS? No. Okay, community service. You guys know that we ask you to do 25 hours per year. You can start earning those hours the day after school gets out for the summer, and those can go towards the following academic year. Somebody already asked earlier this evening, no, we don't roll them over. So if you earn 50 hours in your freshman year, that's wonderful. I love that you have a servant's heart, but you're still going to earn 25 the next year. We do ask that our students complete 3 of those hours on campus in some fashion, whether it's a school activity or a church activity. Most opportunities are announced ahead of time. I try my best to email them out to students and parents, but there are sometimes when I'll have a teacher come to the high school lunch announcements and just say, hey, I had 5 kids after school today, tell me with, X, Y, Z, who's available. So listen at lunch announcements for those campus opportunities, and then check your email. That's students, check your email, okay? Get in the habit. If you need service sheets, they are available online on the school's website. I believe it's there's an advising tab. You can print them off there anytime, but I also keep a huge stack outside my office in the baskets. Hopefully most of you have seen them. I have a take basket, and then I also have one to turn it in. All high school students should be submitting their community service hours to me. And if I could give you a tip, don't hang on to it for the whole year. If you finish something, just turn it in so that I can get it logged into the system. Okay, the PSAT. So students in grades 9 through 11 will take the PSAT. You'll see it says NMSQT each year. So this is great practice for students to figure out how would you do on an actual SAT for a college admissions test. So they give you really great feedback. You can actually do some free tutoring to improve your scores. But in the junior year, so 11th grade, the PSAT becomes especially important because if you're going to make it, this is the year that you could potentially qualify as a National Merit Scholar, okay? They have a whole selection score process that goes into that. It's not the same every year, so I can't tell you what it's going to be when you're a junior, but take them. Don't say this is the PSAT day, I don't have to be there. Take it, it's good practice and it's preparing you for things to come. And also, as I mentioned, we use the scores as benchmarks to see class fit with the appropriate class for you. College applications, I promise that I will give you guys detailed information about college applications and that whole process in the junior and senior year. However, I recommend that if you have questions, don't wait till your student is in their upperclassmen years. Send me an email or give me a call. I love to meet with families and students. I find it to be much more effective to meet with you guys individually to focus on your child and what their plan should be, rather than trying to address everybody as a group. Because everybody's got different things going on and different goals for their future. So please, come see me. I'll be nice, I promise. And then I have just a couple things on the FAFSA and Bright Futures. The FAFSA, you guys will learn to love to hate it. It's the federal student aid process, and so basically the federal government gets to have all your info, and then they get to tell you how much you should have to pay for your child to go to college, and then they send that to the colleges that your child has applied to, and then the college then looks at it and says, hey, this is what the federal government says you should pay us, and this is how much we're willing to work with you, can you fill in the gaps? So I have people weird that say, well, what if I just don't fill it out? Well, it makes it extremely difficult for your child because then they have to apply as an independent student, and most of them don't have jobs to support what an independent person should be able to contribute for a college education. So we're going to fill it out. I'll have the exams tonight, senior year in October. I'll invite you guys. We'll fill it out together. We'll have some pros there to help us get through some of those bureaucratic questions that are leaving you with your head scratching. So don't worry about that quite yet. And then Bright Futures, it's a long way off, but students, you should be thinking about this now. If you are planning or you desire to go to school in the state of Florida, this should be a goal of yours to shoot for Bright Futures. They will give you money to pay for tuition and fees. If you look at the little chart, you'll see that they have 2 different levels of scholarships available. The first one is called the Florida Academic Scholarship. This is their highest level where if you apply and qualify, you get 100% of your tuition and fees paid for. Now, that doesn't mean that college is free. It just means that your tuition and fees are taken care You might still have to pay for your car and parts of your room and board and things like that, but it is nice to have the tuition and fees taken care of. If you look at the next column, it just asks or shows you the course credits that are required to qualify for Bright Futures. Well, if you compare that list to the graduation requirements for second graders, you'll notice that you won't have to worry about a thing. You'll have everything you need to qualify there. There are your GPA cutoffs at 3.5 and 3.0. Those are going to be weighted GPAs. And then the next column over talks about those exam scores. So I have the cutoff scores for the class of 26, 27 on there. That's as far out as I can project for you what the cutoff scores might be. And expect shifting up and down. I feel like every 2 years, they nudge the bottom line up and then they'll bring it back down. And they nudge it back up and then they bring it back down. So it will be somewhere around what you see on that chart. My advice to students is take the ACT and the SAT, and if you're really trying to feel out there, what's the best for you, they also take the CLT now. But take them at least once, see which test feels the most comfortable for you. And then from there, retake that test. So if you feel better with the SAT, then you need to be taking the SAT multiple times. Because Bright Futures allows you to do this really cool thing called super scoring. And if you take the test more than one time, and you do better on the first test math section and the second test reading and writing, you're gonna take those best scores that you have to give you the highest total possible. That's called super score. So it behooves you to take it multiple times, all right? And then the last column is your volunteer hours. And again, if you're following along with our graduation requirements and our service hour requirements, you should not have a problem there, okay? Yes, Bright Futures can go towards private colleges. They give you a credit, an hourly rate per credit hour, so it's about $213 per credit hour. And if you take 12 credit hours, you're going to get that 213 times 12 per semester. So whatever the difference is what you would be responsible for, all right? You guys have questions on Bright Futures? Yes? Yes, yes. Thank you for asking that. I have a couple, right below that, I have a couple like helpful websites and links. One thing I would say to you guys is Bright Futures is an amazing scholarship for tuition, but it is not the only scholarship out there. There are plenty of scholarships that are available to you right now as freshmen. So I listed a couple search sites down there to get you started. Most of those require just a free profile made on your website, and you can spend hours and hours searching for scholarships that might work for you. And if you make the goal to apply maybe two a month from now to senior year, I mean, who knows what you could bring in. I also tell students, this is my little cheat sheet. Even if you think you don't qualify for a scholarship, still apply. Sometimes people just do not take the time to apply to scholarships, and they will literally look to give anybody the money. Just, did you fill it out? We'll give it to you because you took the time to do it. And a lot of times, you can use, like if it asks for a small essay, you can use the same essay over and over. Just make a few minor tweaks, take any identifying information out of, whoever's providing the scholarship, and you can send it out. So if you write a really killer essay, you can use it 30 times. All right, so don't let that stop you from applying. Apply now. Yes?
How does a scholarship for a freshman? Does it just holds over until they graduate, just sits somewhere, or you park it somewhere? How does that work?
Either, both. It depends on who's giving it out, what they prefer to do with it. Some of them will give it to you right away, and some of them have a system to hold it and give it to you at the time of graduation.
Okay.
Yeah.
And on the community service hours, so they worked Camp 7 Rivers this last summer, that counts for this year?
Yes.
Okay. And then for the high school sports season, does it count if they've had a high school sport as an 8th grade?
No, they need to play 2 high school sports in high school. Yeah. That's a good question. Yes.
The ACT super score?
It does. So does the CLT. They all three do it. And listen, not any one of them is better than the other. They're not gonna say, oh, you took the CLT, like, it doesn't matter. Find the one that works for you. Yes. If you guys have, yes.
Does SGA count community service?
I don't think just being a part of SGA counts, but I know NHS, like in particular, does service projects where they get hours, so you have to ask Ms. Van, like, are there specific things that she does that she gives hours for, but not just for like showing up to the meetings and things like that. Any other questions? All right, well, real quick, I just had a couple of things that are not on there, but I just wanted to tell you guys, make you aware of now. Good practice, keep like moms, this is probably something that moms would do, keep a file for your kiddo, and if they win any awards or honors, or they have a really cool internship over the summer, they do something like that, keep a copy of it, a record of it, and just put it away. That way when they get to senior year and they're applying to college and they ask for things like a student resume, or meaningful experiences that you need to write an essay on, you can just pull that file and reference what's in there, and you're not trying to remember what you did 4 years ago. It's a much easier way to do it. Also, if you're submitting service hours or anything like that, keep a copy for yourself and then submit a copy to me, okay? Just keep a record. And then, just so you guys know, you have 2 days in the junior and senior year to go visit colleges and kind of figure out, is this a place that I see myself living and learning for the next 4 years? But you don't have to wait till junior year to go visit. You guys can go over the summer now. There's a lot of breaks that colleges might be open for tours. I would recommend that you start exploring options early. It's never too early to go get a tour, ask questions, okay? And then I have a little, I'm not gonna go over, I'm just gonna tell you. There's a timeline in there, just a bird's eye view of what to expect every year of high school. It's not super detailed, it just kind of gives you an idea of where you should be each year. Look at it when you get home, it just kind of gives you a base point. But again, if you have questions or need anything, please don't hesitate to give me a call. I think, yes.
Service hours, or the person that's in charge of the.
It should be the person that's in charge of the activity, and I would discourage community service. Like, I know sometimes there's nothing you can do to help it if somebody owns a company, but I would discourage it from being family members signing off on anything like that. Any other questions? Yes.
On the Bright Teacher Scholarship, the Florida Medallion Scholarship, is that like somehow prorated or like what is that?
It covers 75%, so yes, it is a little bit prorated. Anything else? All right, well, then Coach John is going to come up and talk about athletics. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. I'm Coach Garner. I'm here to talk about athletics. So the first thing I want to point out is when you graduate, our whole goal is that you've had a great athletic experience. You've had fun, you've learned, you're glad at the end of your high school career that you've been a part of athletics. Now, the one thing I want to point out here, it's a little off script. I don't mention the championships here. We play to win championships in varsity, but if you're not learning, you're not having fun, you're not glorifying God with your efforts, and you have the wrong idea. Go out there and be the best you can be. Don't necessarily look to be the best you can be, so that way each practice you leave better than when you came. Athletics and academics, I'm going to repeat what you've already heard. You're a student athlete in that order. Student and then athlete. And so as the athletic guy, let me tell you that your athletics is second to students, because if you're not a good student, you can't be an athlete. All right? Now 2.0 shouldn't be your goal. It shouldn't be shooting for a C. But if that's the best you've got, then that's great. We're proud of you. But you have to make sure that you're doing your schoolwork, Mr. Jackson said, do your homework,
you'll pass, okay? So make sure that that's your focus. Now, I will say, I'm gonna speak directly to the fellas right now, all right? There's something wrong with us. There's something wrong with guys, all right? We tend to put off everything. Is there any woman here that's gonna say amen on that? All right? And so the reality is don't be the guy that puts your homework off. Mr. Jackson said, your A homework on A days, your B homework on B days, all right? Don't lag behind because it's hard to catch up. You don't know what's coming, that might hold you up, and now you've got a problem. But the girls, you generally do much better. It's just historical, that's the way it is with most situations, but girls don't take that for granted either. All right, make sure you're doing your homework and studying for the test. Warrior Athletics has 15 sports, 18 teams on the varsity and JV level. We're members of the Florida High School Athletic Association and the Sunshine State Athletic Association. We also are required to have, as you all know if you've done it, safety courses, sportsmanship courses. You have to have a physical, some Florida high school courses, and then we also have the athletic handbook. I do want to say that we do, just as when you enter the school, you do an interview, we do homeschool interviews, all right, so when you've been through that, and the thing that I focus on most, so I'm talking to the parents now, not to the students, as I focus the most, believe it or not, on parent conduct, okay? And so what I'll tell you is, as a Warrior parent, you represent our schools, so we're gonna ask you to remember that, because we've all seen the videos of how bad it can be out there. These kids are doing the best they can, as are the referees, are the coaches, nobody's making mistakes on purpose, all right? And so we're out there to be the best Warrior representative that we can be. We represent our school represents Christ, and so we want to make sure that that's what we're doing once we get out on the athletic fields. Okay, so everybody's got that. Our team practices, varsity and JV, is generally 5 days a week. You should be in practice. If there's a good practice reason or a good reason that you missed practice, make sure you're letting the coaches know that in advance. You should tell your coaches directly if you're old enough to do that. It shouldn't go through a teammate, it shouldn't go through your folks. If it's a family emergency or something's going on with families, after all, your parents are in charge of you, not us, okay? All right? Well, then your parents will tell you or they'll tell the coach, but under normal conditions, you should be in practice. There are a few coaches that will say if you have something academically that you're behind on, you might be able to miss a practice, okay? If it happens more than once, it's going to be, well, we're going to have a time conversation about what are you doing with your free time, all right? So are you going home? Are you going watching sports? Are you playing video games? Are you looking at whatever social media thing that you might look at? And so make sure that your focus is on the priority. Get your schoolwork done, get yourself ready, cleaned up, ready for the next day of school. And then if you have time and your folks allow you, go ahead and do those other things. Our athletic season for the fall has already started. Our winter season will start. Soccer starts 13th of October. Basketball will be the 27th of October. And then in the spring, the dates haven't been released yet. Generally, you're talking about the second, third, fourth week in January when the spring sports start. Athletic forms, game schedules, team information. If you go to sevenriversathletics.com, you'll find all that information. All right, and some pictures of the kids playing sports. You'll have team rosters, team schedules, all that information. We have a Facebook page, we have an Instagram page, and we have a Warriors Athletic app. So there's quite a few different locations where you can get the information. And then for those of you that might not be student athletes, that's fine, not everybody is. Everybody has a different gift that they've been given. What I would say to you is, we have community service. We heard it from Ms. Nelson and Mr. Jackson. If you want to do community service in athletics, all right, we've got that available for you. We have setups for banquets. We have setups for games. Sometimes people will decorate the bleachers for the games, and decorate the hallways. So there are things for everybody. If you want to be involved, just come and see me. If you're not doing athletics, you want to be involved, we're glad to have you as part of our team. Wordy Beer, we sell, and most of you probably already have the game day shirts, we call them game day shirts or polo shirts, okay? So our 7th to 12th graders wear those, you can get that from the school store. And then the sweatshirts you folks can also get from the school store, which is open Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday afternoon from 2:45 to 3:30. Now, I want to just veer off for 1 second. I have until 8:30, so I have a little bit of time. So I just want to say to you this. So I figured out, I'm only talking about pro sports now, okay? I'm not talking about college, all right? 'Cause I don't know if I can figure that out, all right? So I figured out in my life so far, I have watched 336 seasons of pro sports, okay? Baseball, football, hockey, and basketball. And the teams that I root for have won 11 championships. Now, there's two things that are here. I might not be too bright, okay, because I've watched 325 losing seasons, all right? But the thing is, it's the enjoyment I get out of it. My kids will ask me, Dad, who are you rooting for? Now, if it's not the Mets and the Rays, I'll root for the Rays, all right? But I don't really care who's winning. It's like, well, I don't root for the Yankees, of course. Who would do that? All right? But I don't care. I just want to enjoy the game. If I'm watching college sports, for the most part, if I'm watching for the Gators, these things are for enjoyment. Sports are for enjoyment. And let's make sure we keep it that way for your sake. Some of you, very few of you, all right, will have the opportunity to play in college. All right? It's few and far between. And percentage, all right, which means to tell you the percentage is extremely low to be a 4-year college athlete. Extremely low. So why is academics important? Because your percentage of being a working person is extremely high. Okay? So what's the priority there? So make sure you're getting your athletics or your academics done and use athletics for fun and be the best you can be at it. All right? Don't make that life and death. Make it fun and go be the best you can be. And frankly, if you're being the best you can be, you're going to do well. You're going to do well. You're going to have a good time. Because if you're not having a good time, what are you doing? Okay? Let's just go have a nice time at sports. Work the hardest you can. Honor yourself. Honor God with that effort. And be respectful to your coaches, teammates, the sport, the parents who have driven you back and forth, because right now, many of you guys are driving. So your parents are bringing you back and forth to sports, picking you up, and dropping you off. All right? Make sure you understand how important that is. And Adam can tell you, she's on my basketball team. Judith can tell you, softball in the past. Go home and tell your parents that, because they're driving you back and forth. Okay, they're doing all this for you, so make sure you're showing appreciation to the folks that are doing the work for you. I think that's it. I think I'm done. 45 minutes earlier.
Well, thank you all for coming out. If there aren't any additional questions, I'll turn you loose because it's payday. And so, get you on the New Year payday. Okay? All right, thank you very much.